Welcome back, True Seeker. Sunday, March 17th, 2019, Mark Passio did his weekly radio show and he educated about the season of sacrifice. And he said it officially begins March 22nd and goes through May 1st, May Day. He also talks about how it unofficially begins March 19th. Anyway, I want to build on what he taught about. He showed how the symbolism of skull and bones, Yale, that identifies by the number 322, he made the argument that they largely get that number from March 22nd. I've always said that March 22nd is absolutely part of the 322 riddle. I don't think it's the whole thing, but I learned something new from listening to his presentation. March 22nd to May 1st is a span of 41 days. And what's so interesting about that is Skull and Bones has that gematria of 41. Remember, number 41, George Herbert Walker Bush. He was in Skull and Bones 322, just like his son George W. Bush, who were both presidents. September 11th, 2001, happened on a date with 41 numerology. The Senator Prescott Bush, who was also a Skull and Bones member, he was the father to George H.W. Bush. Anyhow, George H.W. Bush, the first president from the family, he was number 41. Skull and Bones, 41. How interesting that this season of sacrifice, which begins on 322, lasts 41 days. And don't forget, George Herbert Walker Bush just died November 30th. I did put out several videos last year saying why he would not make it past November. He died on 11/30, 11 plus 30, 41, and we pointed out that the day he died was 3 months and 22 days from the upcoming March 22nd. And don't forget that Paul Walker, George Herbert Walker, Paul Walker, the actor, died in history on November 30th. He starred in the movie The Skulls when his acting career was really blowing up. He died in a red Porsche, just like how in The Skulls he drives a red Porsche. None of these things are an accident. They're all perfect rituals. And the numbers all have meaning. 41 is the 13th prime number. As Mark Passio talks about, it's the seasons. Seasons last 13 weeks. So the season of sacrifice, March 22nd to May 1st, 41 days. Always learning something new. And I think when Mark Passio learns about this language of gematria, his presentations are going to become even more awesome. And that's why I'd like to have a real conversation with this man and run some of the things I know by him and see what he can build on it. Because I'm guessing, there'd be some real synergy and we could literally double our knowledge set, if not more. Also, for just a few more reminders, when you write out 41 as a word, it sums to 118, just like George Herbert Walker Bush, 118. The difference here is the alphabetic order and the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. Don't forget skull and bones symbolism. The skull with the crossbones also comes from how the Knights Templar buried their dead in an ossuary. Ossuary, you would decompose the body in a shallow grave, then you would take the bones, you'd place them in a certain order, you'd finish by crossing the thigh bones and then putting the skull on top. Ossuary 118. Now, what else is interesting is Mark Passio said that March 19th is a day in history known for killing. Sacrifice makes me think of Randy Rhoads from Black Sabbath. Of course, if you're familiar with my work, we talk about 319 and killing all the time. But the unofficial start date of the season of sacrifice, he said, is March 19th. And what's interesting about that is from March 19th to May 1st is 44 days, and kill equals 44. And in satanic gematria, killing is 319. Now, of course, Randy Rhoads from Black Sabbath, a band that, has a lot of occult influence, just like a lot of rock bands do in this world. He died in history March 19th, supposedly in an accident. But if you've seen my work on it, it doesn't seem like an accident. It seems like it was a ritual. And the very famous occultist from the UK who was into this practice of gematria, letters, numbers, Kabbalah, it was Aleister Crowley. And Ozzy Osbourne from Black Sabbath put out the song Mr. Crowley. Look at what day recording began, March 22nd, and look at what day it ended, April 19th. If you watch Mark Passio's presentation, He talks about how April 19th is this infamous day in history, which it absolutely is. Something Mark Passio didn't cover in his presentation, because he talks about how this day has everything to do with death and killing as well. Something he didn't cover is how that's the day the Revolutionary War began. That's also the 109th day of the year, and military equals 109. But I have a video, it's a pretty long video, on this song, Mr. Crowley, and everything that's encoded in the recording dates to the release date. Go back and check out the video. There's so much information here. But something Mark Passio should know about 322, I'm hoping he sees this video, is that ancient mystery religions equals 322, as does Abrahamic religions. And he'll put those two things together instantly. But again, the ancient mystery religions include Hermeticism, alchemy, Kundalini, Kabbalah, which is where this whole practice of letters and numbers comes from. Ozzy Osbourne, his full name is John Michael Osbourne. You'll see, like on Wikipedia, they post it John Michael Ozzy Osbourne. How interesting that that's 322 as well, huh? Mr. Crowley has that 666 connection. The number of the beast, the number of a man. Rock equals 47, like beast, like radio. Should have put beast up there. The date the song released was also a date with 47 numerology. So, anyhow, just wanted to build on that. And I also want to send a thank you to the person. Here, I'll just... this is the presentation right here. I'm going to link this in the top left corner of the video. If you go to 2 hours and 24 minutes, it's right about there. It's right about here. It starts right after this. This caller that he takes right here, Flowy, he calls in and he shares my work and research and tells Mark Passio to look into it. And he drops a lot of knowledge about what just happened in Christ Church. And what's awesome is I listened to this after I'd already put the blog post together. And, whoops, I got rid of the post. But he calls in and makes the same observation about the unofficial start date to May 1st, how it's 44 days, and he teaches him about how the word kill equals 44 and how it shows up through history. And Mark Passio says, that's interesting. That reminds me of the Summer of Sam killer. They called him the 44th Street Killer. So Mark Passio's getting it right away, and this was just awesome to witness. And what else made me happy that this happened on episode 202 is I'm born on the 202nd day of the year. So it was really cool to see somebody else calling in and sharing the knowledge. And Mark Passio said, okay, I'm going to look more into his work. I got to learn more about this. So I'm going to link this video right here. You should definitely watch this video. It's such an awesome presentation. It's got really great information. It's even got some humor. He educates about some of the psyops going on right now in the world not to get caught up on. A lot of people who follow me like Mark Passio, and a lot of people who follow me don't like Mark Passio. And I'm sure it's the same thing for him. I'm sure he has people that follow him that like me and also don't like me. Honestly, there's not anybody in the truth community who's more on the same page with my own thoughts and research than he is. And the difference between him and I is he actually has real experience being in the occult. So he has some firsthand knowledge. He doesn't know everything, but he knows a lot. And I say if you're into my work, you really should follow this man, because his knowledge, it just helps, further connect the dots that I already talk about. Plus, he has more experience, and he's a little bit older than me, so... we'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. Be back soon. Remember, Friday, March 22nd. Last year, it was, I believe it was last year, we had the attack near Parliament, and then the year before that, it was Brussels. Or maybe that was 2 years and 3 years ago now. Time's flying, but March 22nd is a day that, usually things are busy on. All right, Truth Seeker. Till next time.